Hello and welcome back to this fifth episode. If you haven't watched the other four, please get back and watch them. But in this episode, we'll be continuing with our discussion on purpose. In the previous episode, we looked at 5 questions that could give an indicator of your purpose. What might be indicating to you that purpose is calling out. Today we will be focusing on the 5 things that usually stand in the way of us living a life of purpose. The first is usually our career. Some time back we talked about us doing things that we know we shouldn't be doing, but do them anyway, usually for survival. We noted that some of us are doing things that we probably never studied for, and they've become career to us, because some career options are really open. And we get so stuck in there, the demands for the career are so much that they don't give you time and space to come and live what you have discovered that the Lord has called you out to do. And so that becomes a hindrance to you living your life of purpose. Is career bad? No. Actually, sometimes you may find that you are in a career that aligns perfectly or partially with your purpose. But there are times you will find that your career and your purpose are completely misaligned. Should you jump out of career? That's really not the solution. There is ways to be able to blend purpose and career, but sometimes you may need to take a cautious decision on living a life of purpose. But if you do take that decision, there must always be a transition plan. The second challenge that usually stands between us and living a life of career is our education. We usually don't always get to study what we want to study. We usually don't always get to study things that are in line with our purpose. Looking at our education systems across the globe, and especially speaking for our education system here, there are times you will end up in institutions of higher learning or in the university to study something that was not really passionate to you from the beginning, just because your performance during your high school could only afford you that course at the university. And then you get out of the university, and because you have studied a particular course, you find yourself inclined to practicing in that course. The only jobs you can get are in that course. And so because of your education, you find yourself stuck in there, many times not aligned to your purpose. Should that keep you stuck? No. Because you did a particular course at the beginning doesn't mean that you can get back and study something else in alignment to what your purpose is. The third thing that usually stands in line with our purpose is the perceptives and perspectives of society. There are certain things that are held in high regard with respect to the eyes of society, and certain things that are held in low regard when it comes to the perspective of society. So you may find your purpose is being called out from you to an area that society sometimes regards as low in terms of status. And because we are so bothered by having a valued high status in the eyes of society, we avoid what our purpose is and end up sticking in doing things that we know we shouldn't be doing. But because purpose is calling us either way, we ignore and live in obedience. It is very important that when you realize what your purpose is, your obedience to God, who has called you out for that purpose, is paramount and supersedes any other man's perspective. because you're not going to get reward by being held in high esteem. However, you will get reward by being obedient to God. The other, which is a big challenge to us many times, is our mindset. We say so many negative things to us. We may have had some challenges. Oh, fine. Everyone does. But when we begin speaking a negative mindset to ourselves, telling us how we can't, telling ourselves how we are not meant to be, plugging ourselves in zones of comfort that shouldn't be for us, then that can really become a hindrance to us living this life of purpose and eventually affecting our fulfillment. Once you have discovered your purpose, start to speak to your mind positively. Get to a point where you accept, this is who I am. This is what I am called for. This is what I will enjoy to do. This is what people will benefit from me from. This is how I will leave a legacy behind. Speak so well to your mindset. And the fifth challenge that usually stands in way of us living a life of purpose is our past. Many times our past may have not really been the best. We may have done things to ourselves that don't leave us proud. Or the families that we come from are not families that leave us proud. Or the experiences that we have had in our past life, growing up, or by decisions in adulthood that we have taken that may have not been the right and had negative impacts, stand in the way of us getting our purpose fulfilled. The past is in the past. What we have today is the present, and the future is determined by us. We have a future that God has already determined for us. And when I say the future is determined by us, I mean by accepting to live in obedience to our purpose, we will walk into that predestined future that God has designed for us. So let the past not be a reason. Have you failed in the past? Yes, you may have. But that doesn't label you a failure. Have you had bad experience in the past? Yes. But that doesn't label you a bad person. Have you made bad decisions in the past? Probably. But that doesn't mean you are a bad decision maker. Don't get your past holding you captive to your present and your future. Let go of the past. If there are lessons to pick from the past, pick them, apply those lessons, and live a fulfilled life of purpose. Then and then will you enjoy the fulfillment of life, the blessing of God, the pride of others, and a life worth being lived, a legacy unchangeable and alienable from the history of this world. I am really looking forward to each one of us living a completely fulfilled life of purpose. I will be letting us know how we can access the purpose matrix, which will help each one of us plug ourselves in where we can answer the question of purpose. But the purpose matrix will only make sense to you if you've asked yourself the 5 questions on what could be an indicator of your purpose and discovered what it is. Thank you. It's been a good journey on purpose.